Is this thing on? Is it on? Are we now live? I think we're live. Angry Mad Money Man here. And today we're discussing how to succeed when you have depression. Where the heck is the intro? Where's the guy that cues the intro? There he is. Okay. Okay, let's go and thank these people. I like these guys. These guys are so awesome, all right? And of course, these guys are super fragilisticexpialitosis awesome. I don't know if I got it right, but at least I tried. All right, let's go ahead and read them from the top. Sharky, Mickey Turner, Rob Venturas, Haskell, Joshua Flores, Levi Abram, RJ, Gabriel Prince, F.A. Crusader, Scott Veman, Samir Damani, Midtown Kiosk, AWOL 201, David Herrera, Goo Monster, Link Neurons, Thomas Danielle, John R., Fernando Grant, IR Della Costa, Brian Pierre Germato, Justin Spetz, EB, Timothy Bruce Loaiza, Winston Ellington, Chris Hulse, Jarris Hazelwood, John Wright, CPO Americanas, Raymond Zuniga, and Dynasty. Okay, so that... talk about take your breath away, right? Okay, so thank you so much to all of these incredible patrons. Just remember, there's only 4 spots left on the $100 tier, and then there are, and then it's going to be up to $500 for the coaching plans. Almost every tier is currently sold out. The $5 tier is sold out. The $10 tier is sold out. There's like a few spots. There's like 2 spots left on the $20 tier. The $30 tier is completely sold out, and the $50 tier is completely sold out. Okay, so there's 4 slots available on the $100 tier. Like I said, that's the coaching tier. I'll be teaching you guys. You'll be learning. I'll be coaching you guys. You'll be getting homework because you got to go out there and get my money. All right, and yeah, that's just pretty much how it's going to be. So today we're talking about... dun dun dun. I literally forgot the topic. How to succeed when you have massive depression. This is a very important topic, and I think a lot of people need to understand how to do this because we go through so much in life. Know your Memorex. Oh my gosh. We go through so many difficulties in life, and we experience so much depression. All right. And so many triggers, and I don't like using the word triggers because, how do I put this? The snowflakes have kind of messed up that word where everything's a trigger. The truth is that there are no safe spaces in this world. All right. Sometimes we will go to a place where we feel safe, but there's no such thing as a safe place in this world because at any time you can be yanked out of it. A few weeks ago, I was hurt. I was really, really hurt. And many of you probably don't even realize this. So a few weeks ago, maybe about 2 weeks almost now, something happened to me. And my heart was shattered. My heart was absolutely shattered. My response to this is what made the entire difference. I responded entirely with positivity. And I turned my depression into dedication. Okay, so the very next day, I headed straight to the gym, and I started working out really hard. And I kept going and working out really hard. And I started working. I'd do like one workout, then I'd go run. I was going so hard. I was getting ready to start doing another workout during the evenings, and then I hurt my back. But yeah, it teaches me a lesson, that you're not in your 20s anymore. The point is, yeah, I put the focus on myself and my self-development. Also, when that happened to me, I focused on working on my wealth. That's when I began working on my cryptocurrency course for you guys. And it was so much work. For example, I had to do tons and tons of research, and it had been something I've been working towards. And I literally just said, you know what? This is it. And I just put in the hard work. I literally just put in the hard work. I told you guys I'm a web developer, and the hardest part of putting together the course was actually building the technology, building the website for you guys, building the putting everything together, because I had to put together so much different technology to actually build a system where you guys can go and take the courses. It's not easy. Okay, the Crypto Money Academy, you would easily pay someone anywhere from $1,000 to $10,000 to build something like that. I'm not joking. It's a nightmare. Okay, and I literally did that within a very short period of time. And the reason why I was able to do that, because I was just so sad. I was so hurt. My heart was so broken. So I took all that pain and I took all that sadness and I put it into my hard work. And I put it into I put my depression into dedication and into self-development. I know it's hard. You just want to get in your bed and you don't want to come out. You just want to curl up and cry. And as men, it's funny because many of us just can't cry anymore because we know it doesn't make any difference for us. It's hurt. As a guy, like, learning how to cry, we already know society doesn't care. Okay? We know society doesn't care. All right? And we know crying won't fix anything for us. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes having a good cry can feel really great. But as you get older, you realize it's really doesn't serve much of a purpose. But self-development does. And I took all that energy and I went so hard that week. And I started putting out, I removed all the other videos off this channel. And I started putting out videos on self-development. And I started talking about my crypto course. I'll tell you guys right now, my first week since of putting out that crypto course, I pulled in, within 1 week, I pulled in about $2,700. 26, I think it was $2,700, $26 or $2,700. That was the profit. All right, it was all profit. Just from the cryptocurrency courses, I pulled in around $2,600 or $2,700 in the first week. And on top of that, there were a lot of people that signed up for the Patreon, for the tier, for the $30 tier, crypto tier, $50 tier. Those are all sold out right now. And I pulled in easily over $500 on that. So that 1 week of depression, where my heart was completely broken, and I felt like terrible, I took that pain and I put it into hard work and self-development. All right? I put it into working on my body. I put it into working on my finances. I put it into working on myself. All right? I was in that much pain. And taking that pain generated $3,000 in a single week. Okay? $3,000 in a single week. Over $3,000. I generated over $3,000 in God help me. God did it all. Over $3,000 in a single week from that pain. Okay? From that broken heart. You have to take that depression and you have to use it as motivation to push yourself. And then you have to put it into self-development. You have to push through it. You have to take it and use it as a force for self-development. If you're like, oh, I feel terrible today. Okay, so I'm going to take that pain and I'm going to run my heart out. I'm going to run. I'm going to work. I'm going to go for a jog. I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to put that depression into the elliptical or into the weights or into the treadmill. I'm going to put all of that in there. Okay. I'm going to put that depression, all that pain and all that sadness into my diet, okay? I'm going to eat the healthiest meal I possibly can. I'm going to put all that pain and suffering into that lettuce and those tomatoes. I know you're like, what the heck? All right? It's so funny. I'll tell you something. When you're working on self-development, at times it could feel like you're actually punishing yourself. All right? And it's funny because you're like, what the heck? It feels like I'm punishing myself. But the irony is that it doesn't, like, your brain is like, yeah, this is what you really deserve, isn't it? More of this punishment, more of this punishment. But at the same, but you're really not punishing yourself. You're actually making, but it feels like punishment, doesn't it? Like having to go and do this stuff, it feels like punishment. Because when you're depressed, you feel like you want to punish yourself. But in reality, you're building yourself up. This is how, guys, this is how you have to go about it. This is how you have to work through massive depression. I've suffered from depression since I was a little kid. I tried to take my own, the first time I tried to take my life, I wasn't even 10 yet. Okay? I was not even 10 yet, and I failed. And I ended up with scorches all over myself. Okay? I ended up with scorches all over myself. When my teacher at school, because I had a teacher who was such a bully, when she found out, she almost never spoke to me again. Like, never spoke to me again. For the rest of the year, she didn't speak to me. And she just, like, I don't know what happened. It literally, I think, like, it was like the meanest teacher in the world completely it crushed her soul. It crushed her soul. That was the first time I tried to take my life. The second time I was in junior high, not junior high, in high school. And I actually ended up spending about 2 to 3 months in a mental institution. And that was the second time I tried taking my life. Now, as an adult, I've had the urge, like on a daily basis sometimes, I have the urge that I just don't want to live. I'm just being honest with you. It's like I have the feeling where I just don't want to live. I have a master's in psychology. I have a master's in health. Okay, so I understand some of this stuff. All right. I've taken psychopharmacology in college, so I understand how drug interactions work. I'm no doctor, but I do understand a little bit more than the basics. All right. And I'll just tell you guys, it's not easy. It's not easy. And I've realized that therapy is one of the worst places you can go these days, because the stuff that they're telling you is as though they're telling you that something is wrong with you. Accepting yourself has been one of the most important things for me. Learning to accept yourself. You know, I had a very, very terrible childhood. At least for me, it was. And I had terrible experiences with my mother. I actually put out I'm actually releasing an ebook, and the book is actually available right now on my Patreon. For those of you who've gone through difficult childhoods, you know, like you had a mother who just she basically broke you. I actually wrote an ebook and I put it on Patreon like a few days ago. It's for the $100 patrons. And it basically explains how I got over that, how I overcame that. How I overcame that pain, it basically explains, and it's a step-by-step book. It teaches you how to get over that, how to get over the damage that you experienced from a mother who broke you. And it can also help people who've been broken by relationships or just others in general. But it's really, really good. I worked hard on it. I'm going to be releasing it on Amazon soon, but I have to get it over to the editor so that they can make it into the whole ebook format. But the whole thing is actually available right now it's available on Patreon. So if you're a $100 patron, you can actually go on there, you can see it, and you can read it. If you're going through that and you're like wondering how the heck do you go get over that, I basically explain what I did and how, and my steps, what worked for me and what may very well work for you to overcome this, okay? To overcome that, because a lot of us are still stuck in the stage of grief. And that stage of grief is so difficult because you can stay in grief forever. You can stay in grief for the rest of your life. And a lot of people just don't know that. A lot of people don't know that. They can stay in the stages of grief for forever. You know, I'm reading some of the comments too. So for example, you know, like Nature Monk in the chat, he says, I've been through a lot. It can break you or it can make you wise. And that is the absolute truth. It can break you, but it can make you wise. Unfortunately, there are some people who they never get a helping hand. They never stay. It's like they never. I think everybody needs somebody. Okay, and it can be so easy to give up on humanity. You know, dying is very easy. Dying is easy. It's living that is extremely difficult. Yeah, have you ever like thought about it? It's easy to die. It's hard to live. Living is very, very hard. People have to fight each and every single day just to live. Dying is something easy. You can die easily. Dying is one of the easiest things you can do in life. All right? Think about it. So anyone who ever says that life is easy, it's people who make it complicated. No, because everyone's life is different. Everyone's life is different. Everyone's situation is different. Everyone's upbringing is different. Okay? No two people are exactly the same. That's one of the biggest problems with psychology is that you try, and even medicine, you try to put everyone into these general categories. When it comes to psychology, though, it's absolutely worse because you're like, okay, so this is your diagnosis. But in reality, that's not true. That's not true at all because you label people, you compartmentalize people, and then you treat them this way, and then they become that. I'm telling you that. You know, I want to tell you guys something interesting. I don't know if you remember a movie called The Goonies. And in The Goonies, it's an older movie, but I loved it. And there was this guy in the movie, and he looked like a mutant, but he was like clearly a guy that had deformities. The thing is that, you know, we have people like those today, and they have like, you know, the most similar people would be, I guess, people with Down syndrome. But you know what's interesting about things like Down syndrome? You hear about people talking about Down syndrome, and you hear older people saying that when they were growing up, there weren't people like that. They did not see people like that in society with Down syndrome. And you have to understand that a lot of it is the medications that we're given today. A lot of these chemicals, a lot of these things that we take, they alter our brains and they alter our behavior. And many of us don't realize that even like the media consuming that stuff, that also alters our brain chemistry. That stuff you watch on CNN, or all this, even YouTube, all of this alters your brain chemistry. All right, it really does. You know, there's this thing called audio waves, all right? And for example, I use what they call delta waves to help me sleep, all right? And it basically stimulates your neurons and causes them to behave in specific ways. It's very intriguing. You could read more about it. But it's really, really cool. There's delta waves, alpha waves, all kinds of different audios that can affect your personality, your mood, your behavior. They can actually replicate the effects, evidently, of different kinds of substances. All right. It's very interesting, and I will say that, like, I've tried them again, and I found them to be quite effective. I found them to be very effective. Black Eagle says, anymore in the U.S., you can't go get professional help. They are trying to lock you up and take away your ability to protect yourself. And I agree on that. Dysfunctional says, angry. Yes, like that lying person saying I had Munchausen, absolute lie. That lady doctor telling me to see a psychologist. I told you guys, like, I had this experience where you have to be very, very careful with doctors. Very, very careful. Because, like, I get annoyed. Who the heck, like, okay, okay, so you're a physician and you're into medicine, but you're trying to act like you're a specialist on diagnosing mental illness. Take a step back. That's one of the most difficult things I have when it comes to some MDs, because like they cross the line a lot. They can cross the line a whole lot. And I'm thinking to myself, no, you don't give someone a diagnosis. You diagnose someone with something and you're putting a label on them. All right? Just because they don't meet your standards or society standards or the DSM standards doesn't mean anything. I want you guys to think about this carefully, okay? The DSM recently stated that traditional masculinity is now a mental illness, okay? The DSM now states that traditional masculinity is a mental illness. It's listed as a mental illness. Traditional masculinity. Igor says I'm back. What's up, bro? I mean, you have to understand that this stuff is dangerous to your health. It's dangerous to your well-being, to allow it inside of your head, to allow it to control the way you think, the way you act, the way you perceive yourself. You have to focus on yourself, and you have to really work to block this stuff out. And like I said, when you have massive depression, you have to take it and you have to channel that into hard work. Hard work. You have to go and push yourself. And you have, guys, let me tell you something. It's the only way that you move ahead. It's the only way. It's the only way. Because if you don't, then you're not going to make it through anything. I'm just being honest with you. I've been there. I've seen it, guys. I've been there. Sometimes people have to walk that road for themselves. A lot of times they do. But let me just tell you guys something. Nothing good is down there. I've walked that road already. Many guys have. There's nothing good down there. All right. And trust me, when I say I understand, I understand. Like, you know, this desire for life to end. And on one hand, I don't want to die. But on the other hand, I just can't. It's hard. I just can't stand being here. And then you wake up and you're like, this world, you see something you read something, or you see all kinds of just negativity, and you just think, this world is not a great world, and why would I even want to be a part of it? And no one will care regardless if I'm here or not. And even if they do, it's only because they want to use me, not because they actually really care about me. And you just want it to end, and you start to think about it, and it's so dangerous, because if you have to snap, there are many times when I have to drag myself out of it, pull myself. I have to leave the house, literally go outside into the cold weather if I have to. If I can't take a small trip, I have to go outside into the cold weather, or I have to start, just doing different things, activity, to get myself out of the mindset. Because if you allow it, if you keep thinking on it, your brain starts to tell you it's a good idea. It's a good idea. This is a good idea. And it's amazing how a terrible idea can become a good idea and even rational. It's like it's one of the most frightening things I've observed, because it happened to me, and I figure that it happens to a lot of people that suffer from massive depression, from depression, extreme depression. You start to bad ideas, terrible ideas start to make sense. They replace logic. It completely replaces logic, and you're like, yeah, this makes total sense. Oh my gosh, it's like you enter a complete state of it's almost like you're sleepwalking, or you're brainwashed, because this is not even you. Another part of your mind just takes over, and you just think, yeah, this is it. This is a great idea. And it's not a great idea. It's not a great idea. They talk about having a support system. Truth is that at the end of the day, most people don't care, especially if you're a guy. Most people don't care. All right. You have to work on yourself from within. You need self-accountability, self-focus, and self-development. All right. That's the honest truth. That's all you can really do. For me, I focus on God, and I always know that God loves me. And I've also learned how to change the way that I love. For example, I don't give love and expect to receive love back. I love others, and I give it away for free. And I try to project positivity as well. And the reason I do this is because that's what love means. It should be unconditional. Even if others don't understand that concept, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't. And what I do is I say that my love is free, but my time isn't. Just because you love someone doesn't mean you have to invest your time in them if they're not giving value back to you. See, there's a difference between love and value. You can love someone, but just because you love them doesn't mean you have to give them your value. All right? Loving someone doesn't mean putting yourself at risk or causing or creating problems for yourself. Okay, because for me, I love others. There are a lot of people that I love, but I love myself more. You have to learn how to love yourself. This is another very important thing that a lot of people don't understand. How to love yourself. I couldn't understand this concept for a long time. In fact, I thought it was just nonsense. And then finally, I was watching this video by Wentworth Miller where he explained it, and it finally clicked to me. And I finally understood how to do it and how this works. He said that, if he had friends and when his friends are going through things, he has friends. He says that when his friends are going through hard times, he's there for them and he tells them positive things and he's supportive to them. Right? And he said that, and yet when he's going through difficult times, he has that little voice in his head, and that little voice in his head tells him negative things. It tells him that he's no good, and that tells him that he's useless, and it drives him to a point where he just can't stand. It's almost ridiculous. And he said that if he spoke to his friends the way that he speaks to himself, he allows that little voice to speak to himself, he would have no friends. And we all have that little voice, and we allow that little voice to speak to us that way when we know that if we spoke to anyone else that way, we would not have friends. And it was then that I realized that I had to take control of that little voice. And I had to use, and that voice, whenever it's getting ready to or starting to say negative things, I need to instead change it immediately and say something reassuring to myself. What would I say to a friend in this situation? What supportive things would I say to a friend? I say those to myself, and little by little you'll start to believe them, and it'll reframe the way you think and the way you behave. Because because that little voice is so destructive. That little voice causes you so much pain and suffering. But if you change the dialogue of that voice instead of saying that you're useless, you say you're awesome, you're amazing, and believe it, and truly believe it, you'll see how much it changes. You might think I'm wrong. I'm not. You might feel like it's a useless effort. Keep on doing it. Take control of it. All right? Push yourself to do it. All right? Take every time that little voice starts talking down to you, change the dialogue and have it say positive things to you. What you would say to a friend in that situation when they're feeling what you're feeling or going through what you're going through. And in that way, you learn how to become your own best friend. God is my best friend. And I'm a close second. And I'm second to that. Guys, for me also, my relationship with God has been just vital in my life. It's been vital. Without God, I am nothing. So as always, I say, develop a relationship with God, not a relationship with religion, a relationship with God. A relationship with religion is not the same thing as a relationship with God. In fact, a relationship with religion can can push you further away from a relationship with God. The relationship with God is something you must find on your own. I refer to myself, for example, as a believer, not a Christian. In fact, as I said, in 2019, I've dropped all labels. I don't refer to myself as any label anymore. All right? If I say, for example, I have conservative views, so you're a conservative. Well, I have mostly conservative views, but if you think I'm going to call myself a conservative, which means that I'm aligned with the thinking of a specific group of people, no. I have a lot of conservative values. I probably lean more conservative, but that doesn't mean that I can't agree with some liberal values as well. I think for myself, I'm an independent thinker. All right? Guys, I've been thinking about this, for example. Think about religion. Think about the cross, right? And I remember Family Guy making a joke about this, but I think it was Family Guy, but it made sense. We wear crosses around our necks, right? We wear crosses around our necks. They're portrayals of Jesus on the cross and through the crucifixion, and it's terrible. And it's amazing how people even wear crucifixes around their necks with Jesus on it being crucified. And I think to myself, Why are we celebrating this? We should be celebrating the life of Jesus. He's alive. Why are we celebrating his death? Why do, the crosses are medieval torture devices. That's what they are. They are medieval torture devices. And we are celebrating medieval torture devices? As I think about it more and I look around now, I see people putting up a cross for Christmas, and I'm thinking, that's terrible. That's not beautiful. That's horrible. That's a medieval torture device. Why in the world are we celebrating these things? I mean, people don't really think about it anymore because they've forgotten how to think for themselves. We have literally thousands of years where everyone just basically did what everyone else just did, and they did as they were told. All right? It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And a lot of that happened because of religion and because of fear. Have you guys ever thought about the whole practice of communion where you're drinking wine, which represents the blood of Jesus, and you're eating these little crisp wafers that represent the body of Jesus? You're drinking his blood and you're eating his body. Does this make any sense to you? That sounds like cannibalism. Oh, don't question these things. They've been around for a long time. No, I'm going to question them. I think it's terrible. Why would I do that? Why would I want to drink something that represents blood and something that represents flesh? All right, of a human being at that. See what I'm saying? That's why I've dropped these labels. So, and you know what? Let me tell you something else. People will criticize you. They'll make you an outcast. They'll speak poorly of you because they say you have to believe in something. Yeah, I believe in something, but I don't believe in your something. I go my own way, but I don't call myself an MGTOW. I dropped that label too because I don't need to. Jesus came to earth and he gave us a philosophy of how to live, and people built an entire religion around it and tried to slap his name on it and then sell it. All right? Think about that. You have to learn how to think for yourself, and you have to learn how to rationalize for yourself. And you have to take control of your life. The first step to taking control is taking accountability. And you have to remember that even if you did not create the problem in your life, it's still your problem to fix. I'm just being completely honest with you. I'm just being really honest with you guys. Even if you did not create the problem, it's still your problem to fix. One of you, Black Eagle, just left $10. Thank you, Black Eagle. He left that a little while ago, and he says, "I gotta go to work. I have to make angry man's money." That's right, brother. That's right, brother. Get out there and make me my money. Get out there and make me my money. Nature Monk just actually sent me a picture. I think he's out in nature. I think Nature Monk is actually out in nature, and he's out in nature, and he's enjoying the snow. Oh my gosh. I'm looking at this picture. Tons and tons of, this snow and pine trees. This is really, I'm telling you guys, that's really going your own way. That's really going your own way. Focusing on yourself, focusing on your own happiness, not focusing on what people say and what people do, because that's the stuff that destroys you. That's the stuff that eats away at your soul. That's the stuff that nags you and keeps you awake at night. I'm just being honest with you. All right? Richard says, "I know where you're going with this train of thought." It's funny. Maybe you do. If you do, that's awesome, because I don't really know. I'm just speaking. I'm speaking from my heart, or at least I hope I am. And I'm just sharing with you how I feel and what my experiences have been and what my thoughts are. And I think that's one of the more interesting things. It's funny because when you're talking like this, sometimes people can take things from your words that you don't even realize you're saying. That's another thing about life, is honesty. You have to be honest. Don't lie. Don't tell even white lies. It's better to be silent than it is to lie. It's better to say nothing than it is to lie. It's better to It's better to, again, not speak. It's better to not speak truth or lies than to speak lies. In other words, it's better to say nothing than to lie, because even little white lies, they eat away at your soul. They are so disruptive. You know, I'm telling you guys, don't lie. Like, go out of your way to avoid lies. It's better to not give a person an answer than it is to tell a lie. I'm telling you, because every lie, it eats away at you. Small little white lies, they eat away at you. They create problems in your life. The tiniest of lies creates problems, creates down the road. I'm telling you, don't ever lie. Don't ever lie. It's my thing where I try my hardest not to lie. Don't lie. If I ever lie, it's like it's like a joke. Like, the person knows I'm doing it deliberately. And like, I'll tell them, okay, so now I'm gonna have to lie to you. And like, obviously they know I'm, cause you see what I'm saying? But like, outright lying, no. All right. I try my best not to do it, and it makes me feel good. And I'll tell you something, like, would you believe, like, actually working hard to not tell lies, it feels almost like a superpower these days. It feels like a superpower. All right. Like, I don't lie. Like, what? You don't lie? Everybody lies. I don't. I try my best not to. If I do, I correct myself. I'd make a very conscious effort not to tell lies, not even small ones. All right. I'd rather say nothing or deflect or change the conversation than tell a lie. So that's another big one. Guys, you have to be very careful with negative energy. All right? Got to be careful with negative energy. Another thing is forgiveness. You got to learn about forgiveness. Guys, the ebook that I told you about, it's on my Patreon. Like I said, it's in the $100 tier, and that ebook contains so much good stuff in there about healing, about recovering from a lot of this damage. So if you guys are going through some stuff, definitely check out that ebook. It's going to be going on Amazon, and I'm going to be pricing it at least for $20. Although I might price it for $30. I don't know. It's gonna be priced for at least $20. I know you're like, $20 for the ebook? Yep. You know, guys, you have to understand your own self-worth. Like, don't you ever you guys ever notice, like, people charge good stuff for good things, and you're like, my gosh, I can't believe they charge so much for this. And guess what? People are paying for it. All right. So also, you have to know your own self-worth. Don't undervalue yourself. Do not undervalue yourself, because it's something that we all seem to do. We undervalue ourselves. We undervalue our contributions. We undervalue who we are. We give away our value for free. Don't do that. You know, give away samples, but don't give it away for free. That's the other, like, you know, give away samples. You know, for example, I'm dropping knowledge on you guys right now, but at the same time, this knowledge, you know, may lead to some of you guys picking up my ebook, or, you know, or checking out some of my crypto courses. Again, I'm giving you value, and the thing is, when you give value, you can also get it back. All right, that's the key to life, is giving value out. Giving out value. It's like a calling card to others. But I'll tell you this, like I said, learn how to forgive others. Learn how to forgive others. You don't forgive others for yourself, not for them. You forgive them for yourself. Correction. So you don't forgive others for others. You forgive them for yourself. Because when you don't forgive them, then they can take control of you. And sometimes you'll have people who just don't even want forgiveness. That doesn't matter. Forgive them anyway. You know, I work hard. I tell myself I forgive my mother, but I don't ever want to see her again. I don't ever want to speak to her again. I don't want to be in the same room with her again. I feel like 100 years would not be enough, would not be enough time for me and her to be separated. It's been almost 10 years since I've seen my mother. All right. Let me see. Maybe 7 or 8. I don't know. It's been shy of a decade. All right. Maybe a few years off from a decade since I've seen my mother. And it's been, and even quite a few years, maybe 5 years or so since I've spoken to her. It's been a while, 4 or 5 years. And even that's not enough time. As I said, I feel like 100 years would not be enough time for me to go without seeing her. 100 years is not far enough. Is not nearly enough. 1,000 years. Now we're starting to talk. After 1,000 years, maybe I'd feel a little better after 1,000 years. Like at that point, like, oh yeah, I remember you. Like at that point, I still wouldn't want to see her. All right, I still wouldn't want to see her. And I've put distance between us. And you know what? I tell myself, I forgive her. I forgive her. All right, I forgive her. You have to forgive. You have to, guys. You have to forgive. And a lot of this stuff is in the ebook. So if you want to like learn about this, how to do this, go ahead and purchase the $100 tier on Patreon, because that's also the coaching tier. Go ahead and purchase that, because you'll actually get access to that ebook early. Because I'm still working on, like I said, the editor. I have to get it to the editor, but it's on Patreon right now for you guys to fully read. You have to forgive. Because if you don't forgive, it's going to eat you alive. And let me tell you something about people. All right, you'll be holding on to this anger and this pain when people don't even care. Like the person that you're holding the anger and grudge against, they're not even thinking about you. They're going about their own business. I'm just being honest with you. So you have to forgive them. Another thing is you have to forgive people for not being perfect. It is like so serious. That is one of the most serious things I can tell you guys right now. You have to. Yes, I said have to. You have to forgive people for not being perfect. Okay? Because once you start forgiving people for not being perfect, then you can forgive yourself. Whatever you project into the world is what you internalize. If you project negativity, you will internalize negativity. If you project scorn towards others, you will internalize that scorn, and you will internalize it for yourself. All right? If you project a revengeful state, you will constantly feel as though you deserve punishment. I'm telling you. All right? You need to learn how to let it go. Let me tell you something about forgiveness. There's this confusing notion where the word forgive and forget seem to be synonymous, where they say, for example, to forgive someone, it means you must also forget what they've done. That's a complete lie. There's some things you can never forget. For example, if you're a parent and someone has taken the life of your child, you can forgive them all you want, but you can never forget that your child is no longer here because of that person. You can't change the past. It is still there. Okay? The damage has been done. You can forgive them, but you can't forget that it happened. If you're living with a person, if you have a family member who, had a drug problem, and they stole all of your stuff, they stole from you, they cleaned you out, and it was really, and it hurt you a lot. You can forgive them. You should forgive them. But that doesn't mean that you should forget what they've done. Because, for example, you'd realize that they could do it again. All right? That's just common sense. You realize that they could do it again. So now, this time, you forgive them, but you understand where they are, what they may do, what they're capable of. So get that notion of forgive and forget out of your head. Just because you forgive someone doesn't mean that you're going to give them a second chance. Okay? You're going to give them another chance to do what they did again. Incorrect. Doesn't mean you're going to form a friendship with them. Incorrect. It just means that you are not going to hold the anger and the hurt and the scorn against them anymore, because it's hurting you. That's forgiveness. You forgive for you. You don't forgive for others. You forgive for you. And it does help people at times, because they know that this person is no longer holding this vengeance against them. Okay? But you do it for you. You do it for you. I'm telling you guys, I've seen some things in my life. I've gone through some harsh things. And almost 2 weeks ago, my heart got broken. And it hurt really, really bad. But the way I handled it was using positivity, love, and kindness. And that was amazing in that moment, because what I projected is what I felt internally, and I was able to help, that helped to push me along in my journey, in my path to being to self-development. So I'll probably go to the gym later. My back still hurts. Like I said, I went too hard, but that just shows you how you can take depression and pain and hardship and turn it into something positive. But like I said, but you also need to know that labels are no good. Labels are terrible, because when you start using a label, that's when people can start controlling you. And not only do they control you, but the label itself will start to control you. You realize that a lot of people do amazing things, but they associate the amazing things that they do with the label rather than their own hard work or their relationship with God. It's even interesting where people will associate their capacity, not simply with Jesus, not simply with God, but with the religion. In fact, the first thing they will say is, God did this for me. It happened as a result of my Christian faith. Wait a minute. What does your Christian faith have anything to do with God? Why do you even need to put that in there? Because of that Christian faith, why I found God. So the Christian faith it's a middleman to God for you. Guys, let me tell you something about middlemen, all right? Cut them out of your life. That's another thing. Cut middlemen out of your life. Go straight to sources, all right? Go straight to the source, all right? If you can't go straight to the source, don't use a middleman, all right? Because you don't know where you don't know what they're changing along the way. I'm telling you, a middleman can literally send you in another direction, and you will never know any different. So you go straight to the source. If you can, go straight to the source. If you can't, then forget about it. It's better to go looking for another path than it is to go through a middleman. Avoid middlemen at all cost. All right? Just like people are using cryptocurrency to avoid the banks, all right? Avoid the middleman. Avoid the middleman. Let me look at some of your comments. Jamal says, I don't like narcissists. Most people that go through this is from narcissistic people that put damage on other people. The truth is that narcissists are difficult. The key is to forgive them, but then don't think that once you realize that's how they are, remove them from your lives. Remove them from your lives. Brother Caleb is in the chat. He says, thank you, Angry, for my red pill coins. You're very welcome, bro. I'm actually going to be working on the new roadmap from for red pill, and I'm going to be brainstorming all the new ideas that we'll be working on. So, for example, we have a new exchange that's going to be coming out, and that exchange is going to be for not only just red pill, but also social related coins. But red pill is going to be the main tradable coin on that platform, which is going to make it much more valuable when it's traded alongside other coins. Let me see, what else do we have? And then we're also going to be discussing a private messaging service that people will be able to utilize, send each other red pill coins through, and that's something that I want to build into the red pill wallet itself, a messaging service that allows people within the red pill community to message each other and to also easily, again, send each other red pill coins. That's very easy to do through the app itself, so it's just a matter of building the feature into it. So that's going to be something else for communication purposes. And I'm going to be brainstorming some more ideas of what we should be building out. But that's what's going on with red pill. Crypto says, Angry, are you sending one of the girls you know to spy on me lately? I've been seeing Chinese Asian women checking me. Oh my gosh, bro. That's all you. That's all you, dysfunctional. Byte says, the government is the biggest middleman. See, now you're thinking for yourself, brother. Now you're thinking for yourself. Jamal says, yes, just go straight to the wholesaler, not the retailer. Jamal, well said, brother. I'm gonna read that again. Jamal said, yes, just go straight to the wholesaler, not the retailer. Yep. Exactly. Guys, do you know how many people stopped watching my content just because I dropped the MGTOW label? You realize that a lot of men who call themselves MGTOW, a lot of guys who use that label, they use it because they feel like there's some type of power behind it. All right? There's no power behind these labels. There's literally no power behind these labels. But the perception of power makes them feel like they have some type of control, power in their lives. And without the label and the association with the label and the community behind that label, they feel powerless. All right? And therein of itself lies the problem with all of these labels. Dysfunctional says, angry, you thought about the Line app? Line app? I'm not sure what you mean. I'll have to look into that. But yeah, guys, you have to focus on yourself. You have to focus on your self-development. You have to focus on you because nobody else is going to do it. As I've said already, you want to secure yourselves. You want to secure your futures. You want to work on your wealth. You want to work on your resources. All right? You want to work on you. You want to work on your health, your wealth, your resources, because nobody else is going to do it for you. All right? Like I said, guys, one of the best things you can do for yourself is learn about cryptocurrency right now, because it's set to boom. All right? Don't forget, you can learn. You can go to my website. I created this for you, cryptomoney.academy. The link is in the description of the video. And you can take the Introduction to Cryptocurrency course. It's actually going to be going up in the next, over the next 1 to 2 weeks. At the beginning of February, it should be going up. And it's going to be going up. It's $100 right now. This course goes for thousands of dollars. Thousands. It's $100 right now, and basically you're going to learn the things that you need to learn, how to become a crypto user. All right, you understand how crypto works, how to purchase and use cryptocurrency, how to store it, different kinds of crypto. You can see the curriculum here. What is cryptocurrency? A distributed ledger. What gives cryptocurrency value? How is cryptocurrency created? How to store cryptocurrency, using cryptocurrency and purchasing cryptocurrency. Introduction to dApps. That stands for decentralized applications. Crypto and the Internet of Things. Initial coin offerings. Different kinds of cryptocurrency investing strategies, the importance of consistency and persistence. You're going to get all that for $100. Like I said, the price is going to go up. This will eventually cost $500, but the price is going to be going up to about $149 in probably the next 2 weeks. We'll see. So definitely go ahead and pick this up. Start learning about crypto, because you can actually take $100, invest it into crypto, and turn that $100 into so much more. Okay, but you have to have the will. You have to have the drive. You have to be willing to put in the hard work and to get the job done. Again, $100. Click on buy this course, and you can actually pay using PayPal or a credit card. Pretty much any credit card out there. Diners, I think we may even accept Diners Club, but yeah, you can use Visa, MasterCard, American Express. Shockingly, I think you can use Discover as well. I feel like taking that option out there, like, just so I can say, I'm so sorry, we don't accept Discover, but I think we do actually. All right, but yeah, you can pay with your credit card, you can pay with PayPal, whatever means you want. And again, you can see the entire curriculum here. There's a lot of people who are just going to invest $100 in some crypto, and they're gonna wake up one morning and see something like $50,000 in their bank in their account. Like literally, like, wait a minute, this is worth $50,000. Yup. Don't forget the first Bitcoins were going for like a penny or a fraction. They were worth like a fraction of a penny. A fraction of a penny, guys. Like the first Bitcoins were worth literally like a fraction of a penny. The first sale of Bitcoin was for like 2 pizzas, like 10,000 Bitcoins for like 2 pizzas, right? Delivered to them. Like, come on, guys. Come on. All right. And I remember like people were like saying, don't be that guy. So you can find the link to the course. It's cryptomoney.academy. It's actually on the screen. You can see it there. And it's also linked in the description of the video. You can find it, go and take the course. And also don't forget, there's only four slots left on the $100 coaching plan. On that $100 on my Patreon link, there's a link to it in the description of the video. On that plan, I'm going to coach you. You're going to get a 15-minute call with me every single month to discuss where you're at. We're going to be working towards your goals. Like I said, you're going to be getting homework. So I need you to do your homework because I don't want you messing up my money. This is a very, very serious thing that we're doing right here. No fun, no games. You need to get out there. You need to start putting in the hard work. I know it's hard. I know sometimes depression really sinks in, but you can't let it. You have to pull yourself through it because no one's going to do it for you. All right. The only person who loves you the only one who loves you in this world is God. All right. The only one who loves you in this world is God. I could sit here and say, well, Angry loves you. And while I feel empathy for many of you, there are times when I really just only care about myself. I'm just being honest. There are times when I really just only care about myself, and that's human nature. And you'll hear so many other MGTOWs, so many other people act like they care about you. They don't. They don't. People will always do what is in their own best interest, even when they think they're doing things to help people. Like you have nice guys, but they don't really do it because they're nice. They don't really do it because they're genuine. They're doing it because many times they don't even realize. I used to be a nice guy, and you're doing things that you don't even realize will be perceived as manipulative, but you've been socially conditioned to believe that by giving away your value, you're going to earn back value, and it's not even balanced. It's true. So you have to learn. One, you have to realize that only only God and working with you can solve your problems. No one else can do it for you. And at the end of the day, no one really cares about you other than God. I'm just being honest. And you have to learn how to care about yourself. You really do. You have to learn how to love yourself. It can be a very difficult process, but the first step is going to be, for me, one of the first steps, you need to get in touch with God, is learning how to take that little voice in your head that is being rude to you and putting you down, and changing the dialogue. Whenever it starts going off, change it to something positive and reassuring. What would you say to a friend in that circumstance, in that mindset? You're going to have that little voice say that to you, and you'll be amazed how it will help you, okay? How it will help you. I'm not going to tell you that depression will ever go away, all right, guys? For example, I've lived with depression my entire life, all right? I take 60 milligrams of Prozac on a daily basis, and I've gone through almost every drug on the planet, okay? And for me, the Prozac, it really helps with my PTSD because of, it helps prevent the flashbacks for me, because I would go through constant flashbacks and become obsessed with the past. So for me, it almost helps me to forget a little bit. And I do I'm not saying it's the greatest thing that I'm doing, but I do what I have to do to get to the next day. All right. So that I can see another day. And I do the best that I can do, and I do what's right for me. And let me tell you something, guys. You're gonna hear people saying, "Don't do things. Don't use prescriptions and blah blah blah." And you guys have to do what's right for you. All right. Like I said, I don't recommend therapy to anyone, but if you feel that that's right for you, then you have to do that yourself, and you have to live with the rewards and consequences of that decision. But you have to take accountability through it all. When you take accountability, you'll be amazed how much better you feel also, because at least you'll know that you had control over your decisions. And while you can't control the way people will behave or the things that people will do, you can control how you react. You can control how you react to those situations. Dysfunctional says, thank God I enrolled early into the course. Yeah. Shotgun says, I agree, if you increase the price, no one will buy it anymore. Bro, the course is the course goes for like well over $1,000. You can like literally go onto all these other teaching websites and you'll see that these courses are going for they're like giving you one lesson for like $200. Like one lesson is selling for like $200 on other websites. Okay. Universities are charging thousands of dollars for like one lesson. Okay, so I don't know I understand what you're saying, but I put a lot of hard work into it, and this is what it's worth. Okay, if you want the course, then you'll be very surprised. You'll be surprised. Okay. Like I said, the course is going to be going up to 500 eventually, because during the cryptocurrency boom, everybody's going to be trying to learn about cryptocurrency. Everybody, all right? And think about this right now. If I sell 10 of them, if I sell 10 courses a month at $500, that's $5,000. If I sell just 10, so you might say that's like, so for example, if I go, I'm selling them at $100 right now, and I get 20 sales, so that's I get 20 sales, that's $2,000. In the first week I did about $2,700 in sales. That was $2,600, right, in profit. But at $500, all right, sure, maybe I'll get half of that. All right, let's say I get 10 people, I get less than half, almost just like close to a third of the original price. I still made almost double what I would have made otherwise. So again, you should not undersell yourself and don't undersell your value. That's the honest to goodness truth. It's a very, very simple, it's a very important thing. Nature Monk says, I take 1 hour walks on a daily basis, and today I'm doing 20 kilometers. Wow, bro. Wow. 911 Nomad says, AM is making money. Let me tell you something, guys, about money. Money cannot buy happiness. I'll say that right off the bat. Money cannot buy happiness, but it can facilitate it, all right? It can facilitate it, and there's nothing beautiful about being broke. There's nothing beautiful about living in poverty. Jesus Christ did not want us to live in poverty. Notice wherever he went, he fed the people, he healed the sick, because he's God. All right, he has everything. His power, he can create anything. Think about that. But there's nothing with poverty. Living in poverty, that's a horrible thing. Poverty is a horrible thing. Being without money and resources is a terrible thing. And like I said, guys, don't undersell your value. So many people just don't understand these concepts. Don't undersell your value. Dysfunctional says, angry, what do you think to those people saying crypto is the mark of the beast? It's so funny when I hear the mark of the beast, because I grew up in the Christian church. Okay? Grew up in the Christian church. And let me tell you something about the mark of the beast. This is what I've heard. When Social Security numbers first came out, they said that Social Security numbers were the mark of the beast. When I was growing up, I heard stories that there was one day going to be a chip that everyone had to have implanted into their hands. And this chip would be the mark of the beast. I want you guys to think about this. If you go back probably 1,000, even 2,000 years ago, there was probably a time where people had maybe a certain tattoo, a certain stamp, or certain mark, and this mark would mean that they would get certain special privileges or belong to a certain group. And you could probably even deduce that even back then, people called that the mark of the beast. You could even say that people who used money that had a certain image printed upon it and wanted to purchase things, like, for example, if you want to purchase this in this place, you have to use this specific money, all right? So guess what? You could say the US dollar is also the mark of the beast. Everything, you have to understand, every possible thing, there's always going to be something new that they will associate with the mark, okay? It's when you begin worshiping things as your God, that's when you get into trouble. That's when God looks at you and says, But this whole mark of the beast, let me tell you something. Live your life. Live your life. All right? Live it. Just live it. Stop listening to people. They are wasting your time. 911 Nomad says, just like Charlie Sheen said in the movie Wall Street, there's no nobility in poverty. Guys, I'm going to repeat that. I thank you, 911 Nomad, for saying that. I want you all to remember that message. Remember it, Chris. Remember it clearly. Don't forget that message. There is no nobility in poverty. It's not a game. It's not a game. Guys, for me, my rock bottom is different for every person. And I realize that there's always deeper. You can always go, as long as you're alive, you can always go deeper. It's just about how far you're willing to go. For me, homelessness was my rock bottom. And it's something I never want to return to. I never want to return to that experience. And I could have stayed in that lifestyle. I earned my first master's degree while I did not have a place to live. It was one of the most challenging periods in my life. And I was surrounded by vagabonds and substance abusers, and I could have easily fallen into that. But there was this guy who told me to stand up when I was ready to just give up. He said, stand up. And to this day, I still remember that, guys. When you're deep down and you just feel like you can't do it anymore, and you just want to give up, stand up. Maybe you're laying in bed and you just want to, like, this is it. You can't do it anymore. At the moment when you just want to give up entirely, all right? You should always pray. But at that moment when you want to give up and you just feel like, you can't do it anymore, all right? Stand up. Stand on your feet. Get on your feet. Just stand up. Stand up. And you'd be amazed how just standing up can change your perspective. Because if you're on your feet, then it means that you're alive. And if you're alive, that means that you can still make a change. Because where there is life, there is hope. All right? And where there is hope, there can be change. So, you have the power to do that. God has given you the ability to make choices. All right? The truth is that you have to have faith in life. You really do. And you have to have faith in God. You have to have faith in the things you're doing. And you have to believe. You have to really, really believe in it when no one else does. You're going to run into people in your life who are not only going to tell you that you can't do things, but they're going to try to stop you as you're trying to do things. They're going to put up barriers, all right, to prove that to literally prove that you can't do it, all right? It doesn't matter if you would have succeeded if they hadn't gotten in your way. And you have to keep pushing forward. When it comes to, like, for example, I've been working on my cryptocurrency project for years now. I've been working hard on it. I've been working hard and it's like watering a flower. There's a guy named Les Brown talking about it, where, you have people who've been like watering a flower for years and years and years. All right. And you've been watering a seed. You've been watering the seed for years and years and years. And people walk by and they make fun of you. And they say, you're still watering that? You're still watering that? There are so many people who told me, said, Angry, you're still doing that? You're still working on Red Pill? Come on, bro. I know and you know you need to give up on that already. Guess what? I'm still watering it. Still working hard on it. Okay? I'm still working hard on it. Still working hard on it. All right? So all those, and then you know what's funny? And then one day somebody walks by and they see that the thing that you've been watering all these years, those seeds, that plot of land that you've been watering all these years, all right? They could have sworn there was that the land was barren or the seed was no good, all right? And all of a sudden they see that it's sprouting up high. And they're like, oh my gosh, is that the seed that you've been watering all these years? And you say to them, yes, it is. And the same person who put you down, criticized you, talked badly and poorly of you to others, even said it to your face, then turns around and says, hey, you think you have a job for me? Think you have a job for me? You think I can get in on that? Can I get some tips on how to water my own, how to do what you've done? And you say, but you've criticized me for years. Come on, you're not going to hold that against me. Sometimes they'll even say things along the lines like they were just trying to motivate you. So this is another tactic. People who put you down and pull you down, all right? When they see you succeed, they will turn around and say that they weren't trying to hinder your success. They were actually trying to help it. They were trying to motivate you by getting in your way. They were trying to motivate you by telling you you couldn't do it. This is the mindset of people. All right? When they do these things. Let me tell you something. Forgive them, but that doesn't mean to forget what they've done. Doesn't mean you should give them a job. Doesn't mean that you should give them anything. All right? Doesn't mean that. I'm telling you that right now. You could forgive, but never forget. Never forget. Think about that carefully. Because if you forget the history, then history is bound to repeat itself. If you forget history, then history is bound to repeat itself. So never forget. Forgive, but never forget. Learn from it. Learn from it, brothers. Learn from it. Learn accountability. Learn self-focus. Focus on self-development. That's what going your own way truly is. Jamal says perseverance. Yes, brothers. Perseverance. Persevering, pushing through the hard times. No, that's not roaming calling. Pushing through the hard times, even when you want to give up. Okay? There's a difference between knowing when to take a step back so that you can regroup and literally just giving up entirely. There's a big difference. I hope you guys enjoyed this stream, and I hope that it was really helpful, and I hope it helps someone who needed to hear this. Okay? Because understand that depression is something that we all face. Many of us face. And it can be such a taboo topic. But just knowing that you're not alone sometimes is enough. All right? But no one can do it for you. Like I said, I would love to say that I care. And I try to. But at the end of the day, I'm going to be, in my own heart, I'm focused on my own self-preservation. And that's not a bad thing. You need to focus on yours. Don't let middlemen get between you and the source of things. Don't let the church get between you and God. Don't let the concept of the label MGTOW get between you and going your own way. Okay? Don't let labels get between you and developing stronger relationships and living the life that you want to live and achieving the things that you want to achieve. All right? Jamal says the power of faith and determination. Guys, I actually made a post on my Patreon. I made a post earlier on my Patreon before the stream, and it actually talks about one of the most vital things to success. All right, and that's available, I think, to the $30 patrons and above. All right, and you guys, I hope you guys will be able to check it out, because it really is the truth. Because I've gone through some things in my life, guys. All right, and I know many of you have as well. And let me tell you something. Just because some of you may not have suffered the way I have doesn't make your suffering or your pain any less meaningful. All right? I've said this before, like, just because there are starving children in another country doesn't make what you're going through any less valuable. Just because there's pain and suffering elsewhere doesn't mean you should stop complaining. You should just suck it up. No, you're important, but you have to prioritize yourself. You first prioritize your relationship with the God, then prioritize yourself, your development, your happiness. All right? Let me tell you something very quickly about charity and giving to others. You know, many of you have heard of Mother Teresa. And I started reading and learning about this recently. Like, for example, you hear about the vow of poverty, right? Nuns, clergy, all of these people take a vow of poverty. But then I read something recently that a sister, she explained it, and I hope my interpretation is correct, that God actually asked all of us to take a vow of poverty. Now you have to understand, a vow of poverty is not a vow of destitution. You see guys, do you see the problem when you start getting too wrapped up in these things? Or you let middlemen guide you? A vow of poverty is not a vow of destitution. And God actually asked all people to take a vow of poverty, evidently, where it just means that you share everything you have among your community. So it's no longer an individual's property, but it's a community's property. And she gave an example where her car broke down. The car that she had broke down, and there was another sister in the church who had a car, and she gave the car to her to use. All right, she gave her the car, and she was so happy to get it. Okay, because it was not as important for her, and that's what it meant. But then you had Mother Teresa, and Mother Teresa spent her life giving and basically when she passed away, she had like very little for herself, to the point where I think they had to actually go out and get things for her. All right? And she died in a situation of destitution, if I recall. It was terrible. I remember hearing about this. And my grandmother would always say that works will not get you into heaven. And she basically meant charitable works as I got older. Is that what she meant? Charitable works will not get you into heaven. My grandmother used to say that, if I recall. She used to say works will not get you into heaven. She meant charitable works. Evidently, charitable works will not get you into heaven. If your heart is not right, charitable works will not get you into heaven. Mother Teresa died in a state of destitution. That's what it looked like to me. All right? And she spent her life performing charitable works. That is, guys, like as though that would get her into heaven. I don't mean to criticize, but I'm just being rational with you. You ever think about this, where you hear about heaven is described as a place of great wealth and wonder and happiness? So why would you live in poverty on earth so you can go live in wealth in heaven? Why would God want you to live in poverty on earth and then go up to heaven so you could live in wealth? Oh, I'm going to live in poverty on earth, and God is going to bless me by bringing me up to heaven, and now I'm going to live in wealth? That doesn't make any sense. There's a difference between living humbly, all right, and living in poverty. You can live humbly and live in a very nice home and have very nice things surrounding you, but you don't worship these things and you don't make them your focus of happiness. Or you can live a very simple life and have little but be happy with what you have. But believing that you need to live in poverty, to be humble, to show humility, that's brainwashing. And that brainwashing comes from the church. It comes from the church, it comes from religions, and everything ends up becoming a religion. Think about it. Feminism became a religion. MGTOW became a religion. Okay? Jesus Christ came to earth and gave us a simple way to live. They built an entire religion around his name and waged wars. Many wars have been fought using his name. Using his name. It gets me upset. Think about that. When did he ever sign on to any of this? All right? The Catholic Church, this is what I remember learning in school, if I recall, at one point in history, actually would charge people, I think it was the Catholic Church, would charge people money claiming that they could remove the souls of their loved ones from hell and bring them up to heaven if they paid a certain amount of money to the church. Do you see how ridiculous that sounds? You go through all these different religions and you have people like prophets. You have like that literally like some of like okay, who made this person a prophet? The great council of bros got together and said this person's a prophet, or this is like, you know, like whoa, I never heard any of this other stuff. I never heard it. Like Jesus has told me to live a good life, and he basically talked about a philosophy. What are you guys talking about? Because none of this makes any sense. None of this makes any sense. This all seems kind of shady. Or that whole thing about giving 10% of your salary to the church as though you're giving it to God, but you shouldn't be asking questions about where the money is going. Does that make any sense to you guys? But God will bless you for giving 10%. Like doing stuff like that, like giving 10% of your salary away. But don't ask any questions where the money's going, boys. Don't ask any questions. All right? You better not ask any questions. That's between God. That's between God and that's God. That's God. What the heck are you guys talking about? What are you talking about? God has nothing to do with this. These are men. These are men counting it and pocketing it for themselves. Brothers, if you get anything out of what I'm saying, please learn how to think for yourself, because in the end, you will have to be accountable for your actions. No one else will be accountable for you. No one else will be accountable for you. At the end of the day, we will all have to be held accountable for the things we say, do, and the lives we live and the decisions we make. So at least make the decisions that you want to make. This way you can own them in the end. You can say, well, I decided to do this, so now I can benefit from the rewards or the consequences, but at least it was my decision. You know, I often think that the people who are going to, a lot of people are going to be surprised, you know, those who make it to heaven and those who don't. And I think that you'll find murderers and people who've committed the worst of crimes in heaven seated around Jesus. And then you'll find all these religious figures and all these righteous people, you know, lining off the underworld. Because at the end of the day, their philosophy, a lot of these people are just con men and con women. I'll be honest, they're just con people. They're just con people. And that's really it. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. It was really good to do the stream for you. I wish more people would have continued listening to this content and didn't just walk away because I dropped the label. And I hope that they eventually realize that it's more than just having an MGTOW. It's about just going your own way, going the Lord's way, living the life you want to live. And God wants you to live, not living the life that others want to tell you how to live. Okay? Because at the end of the day, you're going to have to be accountable for it one way or another. Nature's still hiking. All right, guys, let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget, you can pick up the cryptocurrency guide before the price goes up. The link will be in the description of the video. It's cryptomoney.academy. Get the introduction guide, because you can end up waking up one day with investing 100 and finding like 50 grand in your account. And you don't want to wait until the last minute. That's one of the best ways to safeguard your future, your wealth, and your ability to survive in hard economic times. Definitely check that out. Love God, get money, and cheers.